Welcome to our YouTube video on the thought-provoking essay titled Dreams Which Should Not Let India Sleep. In this inspiring and critical analysis, we explore the aspirations, challenges, and dreams that shape the development and progress of India as a nation. India, with its vast and diverse population, has witnessed tremendous growth and transformation in recent years. However, there are still pressing issues and unfulfilled dreams that demand attention. This video delves into those key dreams that should continue to fuel the collective ambition for a better India. Join us as we unpack the core themes discussed in the essay, which touch upon crucial areas such as education, healthcare, poverty eradication, gender equality, environmental sustainability, and inclusive development. We explore how these dreams are intertwined with the fabric of our society and can contribute to shaping India's future. Let's start our essay. It was winter holidays. I was headed for my hometown, which is in the state of Bihar. This was a journey by train. I was in a neat and clean air-conditioned coach. It had been a long journey. I had boarded the previous evening, had a hearty meal, and had slept quite well after watching one of my favorite movies, Rang De Basanti. As I woke up, the train had just entered Bihar. I felt great as I was getting closer to home. I still had to travel for 8 more hours until I reached home. Those 8 hours that were to leave me restless, questioning and wondering. There were incidents which I unintentionally absorbed, or rather these incidents have kept me absorbed for days to come. My air-conditioned coach that was spick and span the night before was in a mess. How did I not notice it? In fact, I saw a lady who appeared to be quite well educated and forward wipe the entire vomit of her kid with the railway towel that we get in the trains and throw it under the seat. I was aghast. I felt the urgent need to sermon her on Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. I wanted to tell her about how Indians were thought of and dirty, uncivilized people abroad, how India was taken for granted as an unclean country. And of course, it was not just one person who had made the entire country littered. Next, my attention went to an old man. He was talking to some official over phone. He was distressed and disheartened in his tone. He was complaining yet demanding. What I could collect from the conversation was that he had retired from a central government service some 8 months ago, and till now he hadn't even received 1 paisa of his pension. I could feel his helplessness so apparent in his voice. My heart went out to him. I wondered how he must be coping with his expenses in such a circumstance. Just as I was thinking about it all, there happened to be a beggar in the coach. He was a minor boy. He sang some song and then extended his ball. Without a thought I asked him, "Do you go to school?" He replied in negative. When I asked him the reason, he said that he has been admitted to a government school but he doesn't attend the classes. Where do you live? Your parents know about it? Don't they scold you? He said that they know and happily left the coach as he had got a lot of cons. I heard another lady who was a patient of some disease and was complaining to another one about the high costs of the medicines. These medicines happened to be imported from abroad. How could the old and the sick afford such expensive medicines given the meager amount of income that an average Indian earns? Do they have to be dependent on their children for these medicines for as long as they live? Why are these medicines imported? And why are the others reverse engineered? Why can't we innovate and make our own medicines? Our government needs to invest in research and development, follow the footprints of other nations who invest heavily in R&D, give some incentives to the young minds who are always eager to explore given little push. My train journey was over. I picked up my luggage and, still mulling over the incidences that had just happened, went on to sit in a bus that was heading towards my place. It was a non-AC bus. As I started noticing the people around me, I realized that they were all from poor economic background. Just then a 40-year-old man grabbed a seat beside me with a kid on his lap. The infant was in feeble health. I had only seen such malnutritioned children on television, in books, in newspapers. Yet, he was a sweet little kid. I befriended him very soon, and also began talking to his father, who also seemed like a very gentle person. He lost his wife when she was in labor with this kid. He told me that he stayed in a slum, and how he had to do odd jobs to manage a hand-to-mouth existence when last year the crop in his small plot of rented land failed. I could also feel the bitterness and a sense of shame in his voice when he told me that he had one more son who was of employable age but stayed at home. I could only look at this kid who was now in my lap and wonder how he could have had lead a more healthy life, had his mother been alive, or if his father or brother had a more stable source of earning. I instantly thought about other million kids like him, yet another million of maternal deaths, millions of youth sitting idle, and millions of farmers like this father who had managed to not commit suicide. I descended from the bus and sat on a cycle rickshaw. I looked at this old man who was pulling the rickshaw, but I didn't ask him where he lived or how many mouths he had to feed. I almost knew. And the joy of homecoming was long gone. Still, I met my parents with a happy face. I was meeting them after 6 months, so there was lots of chatting to do. The same night, I was thinking about these incidents again. Why had I not noticed them before? Of course, I knew of the things that were happening in the country. And such things were not prevalent in my state alone. All of it was omnipresent. After much thinking, I realized that these shortcomings that our nation had been grappling with had been there always. In fact, they were so usual that we had been accustomed to this present system and the prevailing scenario. It is only when we look at things with the urgency that they need to be dealt with, do we understand how critical they are to the nation. What I could conclude that investment in social sectors, insurance and help to farmers, restructuring the agriculture, restructuring bureaucracy, cutting red tape, investment in research and development, creation of more jobs, checking infant mortality and maternal deaths, dealing with deadly diseases like TB, dengue and malaria, increasing per capita income, affordable housing, quality education, value education and creating awareness are very critical to our nation. So critical that every step that we don't take towards them means a step backwards. And to take strong, decisive steps we need leadership that is strong-willed and empathetic leadership from all walks. From government, from people, from civil societies, from big corporations and from micro and small enterprises. There is a famous saying by Sant Kabir which goes like this. जैसे तिल में तेल है, जो चकमक में आग. तेरा साई तुझ में है, जाग सके तो जाग.